The game might be over, but we're just getting started. Welcome to the Todd Fox Postgame Podcast, your go-to spot for real, unfiltered Angels talk, win or lose, on the Halos in the Infield Network. You never know what's going to happen. Walk-offs, meltdowns, heroics, or straight-up typical Angels disasters. We're breaking it all down. Who stepped up and took home the Golden Stamos, the most prestigious award in baseball? And who embarrassed themselves so badly they're stuck with the dreaded Nacho Night Award? Drop your comments, call in, and sound off. We're reading them all. So like, share, subscribe, and buckle up, because this show pulls no punches. And yes, Anthony Rendon is still a fragile little bitch. Take it away, Todd.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome in, everybody, as I had to bring the microphone in right now. The Angels lose and get swept, so no surprise, I guess, to some of you out there, but it is a little bit shocking the way this team has progressed this season, if you want to call it that. But first off, it's the Heady Postgame Podcast with your host, Todd Fox, where it's presented to you by 714 Tickets, and we'll talk a lot about them later on, as they've been gracious to hook me up with some tickets. And next week, if you're still loving this team, following this team, and you want free tickets, we are going to start giving some away starting tomorrow and into Friday. I might actually give away my tickets for tomorrow. You could sit where the Fox sits in his season tickets for tomorrow, because I might not be able to make tomorrow's ball game. I'll be there for sure on Friday. I just don't know about tomorrow's game. But with that being said, the Angels drop another one and another one and another one, as they have now gone 3-12. So if they were an NFL football team, they would be following up on their final week of the season coming up, or at least 2 more weeks to go. And they would be fighting for a number 1 draft pick in the top 3 in the first round. But no, we're a baseball team that is trying to piss away their season as May starts. And some of you already think that they've pissed away the season. Again, we weren't saying that this team was going to make the playoffs, but we were going to say that this team was going to be competitive and go 500 at least, right? But we've talked about it night in and night out about how bad the offense stinks. And you can't always make excuses for the hitting. And yes, the pitching does play and has a responsibility in the losing. However, they don't get the blame all the time, because for the most part, they have kept you in it. And like today, if Reed Detmers doesn't have an error or 2 behind him, or even with the pitching performance by Anderson, this could be a different story. So we'll get into all that. This was definitely a game, again, you could chalk up to they were competitive for 7 innings and should have did something more in the late innings offensively, but didn't. And before we do that, I want to just say this Heady broadcast and everything that we do is for the fans, by the fans, by the fans, for the fans. And that's how we do it here. We're real Angel fans that go to games, that talk about the Angels. We don't bullshit around like another podcast I know that are fans of other teams and are only doing Angel coverage because it's convenient. So with that being said, and it's convenient, which is hard to say for a team this bad. And again, they are playing the way that they are playing, and they are not sugarcoating anything, with a record now, again, 3-12 in their last 15 games after starting the season 9-5. And there was big news, as Sammy brings out over there on TikTok, about Mike Trout today. And basically that comes down to him still being sore from the knee surgery. It might have popped a little bit. I've torn an MCL before, and it does make you very wobbly. If you're not on it, if you're not losing weight, if you're not, doing the right exercises, you will get popping sensations from now and then. It may get sore and it may feel like it's ripping again, but it's just your leg telling you, hey, ease up a little bit or work me out a little bit more. And then once you do that, I'm not saying I'm an expert in it or everything, but I haven't had a problem since. And I had that injury, I want to say, it was 9 years ago. So 9 years ago, I tore my MCL, and it's after that, it's been good. So it's going to take him some time. It's barely been a year after he's had the injury. So mine got basically back together and all right with no popping after 2 years. So it did take a while for the knee to settle back in. So with that being said, though, today's loss is kind of difficult because you wanted to see them get a victory before they came back to Anaheim, but it's not looking good right now. They have a tough schedule coming up. They face 2 quality pitchers right out the chute with Detroit. Detroit's currently in first place. This is a team that, again, if I'm honking my honk, I'm trying to get the positives out of today's game, right? But when you think about what they've done divisionally so far this season, they have now gone 1-7, whereas we talked about in the preseason, we talked about last year, if you want to be competitive, you work on your division first, and then all those other games against the Central and the East, and then also your games against the rest of the league, those do matter, and you do want to go 1-0 every day. You do want to win series, obviously, but if you had to take a loss and losing a series to Miami or to the Pirates, I'll give that up as long as I'm doing like 70% clip or at least winning percentage against my own division. Like, I want to get back to the days where the Angels could roll through the division and maybe have one tough opponent, which was always Oakland. Let's just be fair. Even when Houston first came to this division, we used to kick the crap out of them for the first 2 years. And then it seemed like when they changed back into the retro uniforms, that was it. Once they took that National League stain off of them, man, they turned into a really good team really fast. And then, teams like Seattle would battle us and we'd lose series with them. Texas would always give us crap. And then it wasn't the domination that we once had in that division. We used to roll through those teams, and it was always Oakland that would battle us to a 2-1 to a 3-0 to, low scoring games. And it's going to be no different this year, obviously, with our offense. But talking about today's game, to sum it up, the Angels, you're going to get Ron Washington saying, well, I think we hit a lot better today. You had that little incident with Mike Trout, but, we kind of lost our way. Yeah, you lost your way, dipshit. Like midway through the game, they stopped hitting. They kind of like were pressuring here and there, but it wasn't consistent. And again, last rated team with runners in scoring position. They cannot get a big hit to save their lives. And that's why they are the worst at doing that. Now, the fact that you had 3 more walks today, that's not encouraging because you're supposed to be drawing walks. We should be talking about 3 to 5 walks every game from this team, but they're not doing it. And they barely got 5 yesterday, and that was early, and they didn't get nothing when it really counted. And I felt in this game too, they had some decent at bats. They did get a lot of 3-ball 2-count strike or counts between balls and strikes. So they did have a lot of full counts. They did get some hits, but as soon as they got the guys on base, they forgot that the other team's going to adjust. The pitcher is going to be pitching from the stretch. He's going to be watching every one of his pitches, try to pitch to his defense, help his defense out, right? Induce a ground ball, induce a fly ball, right? Induce a double play. And the Angels, that's where you got to get technical and get away from the analytics and say, no, the analytics say this, but we need to do this. There was opportunities where they could have bunted with 2 men on, didn't do it. There could have been opportunities to get a guy over, didn't do it. They actually did it by accident one time with Soler, had second and third, 1 out, and couldn't score a run. And that was a huge part in the 7th inning because had they taken the lead 5-3, maybe things are different. They don't go to Detmers, or maybe that error that should have been an error by Shonawell doesn't take place. There was a couple of errors in here that hurt the Angels early. We're going to go through the scoring real quick, and then I'll get through the numbers. Ohapi singled to right, which is weird because we were just talking about that the other night, how it was just home runs or nothing with him. And it was 1-0 right away, Angels. But that lasted for only like about a few minutes because Rosarilla would hit a home run to make it 1-1. Rivas singled to center, and that would score the second run. Soler would tie it up. And then Rosarina struck out swinging on the air. It was like 2 errors that brought him in. Then Neto grounded into a fielder's choice to get a run in to make it 3-3, but then all hell broke loose and the Mariners scored 6 runs, 5 of which all earned by our boy Detmers. And that's the other thing. Terrible broadcast. If you were listening to it while I was at work, I was listening to the game and I had to endure Trent Rush. I think the only thing that would have made that broadcast worse with Trent Rush calling the game is if Patrick O'Neill was his color analyst next to him, because both those guys suck. And Trent Rush was just terrible. He was like, hey, Trout. Like he could not get through an inning without mentioning some sort of Trout update when there was none. Other than the fact that, yeah, we understand he left the game. We get it. We get Adele's in there. But Not so much. He was super annoying in this one. So with that being said, let's talk about the numbers again. The lineup did this. Neto had one run or one hit, one RBI, one strikeout. The Angels only struck out 4 times, which to me is not a season low, but that is damn near close to a season low for them because they in this series they had or in the road trip, I should say, they had 46 strikeouts coming into this game. So they finished a 5-game road trip with 50 strikeouts total, and they went 0-5, and that's an average of 10 strikeouts per game. So you're not going to win many games like that. Sean O'Well went 1 for 3, but he had 2 walks, so it was a good game. He continues to go the other way, take what the pitchers give him, but his defense really cost the Angels today. Mike Trout went 1 for 2 before he went out. Adele came in, went 1 for 3. Soler went 1 for 4. You had Ohapi 2 for 4. You had Renifo 1 for 3. Campero came in, did a nice job out there, looked all right. He can provide speed. He had a stolen base, Gustavo did. So that's a player to watch. And they rested Taylor Ward. So we didn't miss him all that much. But we did. Maybe we should have started him over Kyron Paris. Kyron Paris went 0 for 4. He's batting .219. It's only a matter of a time until a Torrey Hunter or an actual competent hitting coach, which I don't think we have, sits him down and works on his technique and changes up his swing. He's going to continue to spiral around the toilet. I love the kid. He's a nice guy. I interviewed him. I don't want to see him struggle. I really want to see Kyron Paris get going, but right now he's a liability offensively. Defensively, no, he's good. But offensively, that guy can't hit anything right now, and it is so frustrating. I feel bad for him because I know he's a good guy, and he deserves better, but you got to change up your technique, homie. You are swinging for the fences every time, and the pitchers know it, and they're going to attack you like no tomorrow. The Angels did, we've been complaining and moaning about, hey, man, we need runners in scoring position. We need to have more opportunities. Yeah, we're going 0 for 3 runners in scoring position, 0 for 4. That's not enough. Well, they had 12 opportunities to drive in a run, and, well, be careful what you wish for because we did have a lot of opportunities, but we only cashed in 2 of those. So, again, if you go 2 for 12, that's not exactly helping. If you go 5 for 12, most likely you win the game. But, see, there's that law of average. And look at what the Mariners did, 5 for 12. With runners in scoring position. And then the pitching, Tyler Anderson gave you another quality start. 96 pitches thrown. He lowers his ERA to 2.67. 3 runs on 4 hits, 2 earned, though. Only 2 earned. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, the 1 home run allowed early. Detmers came in, didn't get an out. He raised his ERA from 2.78 to 5.79. Yeah, Johnson come in a tough spot. He only allowed 1 run, but he inherited the bases loaded, actually got out of it, but still gave up 3 hits. He still is pretty damn good, and Adair came in and pitched a scoreless 9th or 8th inning right there. So the Angels dropped the first 2 of 13 to the Mariners. That's not good. Again, 1-7 in division. Seattle now raises its record to 18-12, 12-6 at home. The Angels are 12-17, 7-13 away from Anaheim Stadium. So that just locks you up right there with a record not so nice right there for the Angels, who will be coming home for a 10-game homestand. They need to improve, and it starts with the hitting, dude. Don't at me about the pitching today. I know they had a rough part of it in the 9th inning, but again, what hurts the Angels is you can't get hits with runners in scoring position. You don't draw walks. And then when you are shut down, when it looks like you have the golden ticket, you have 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and you've got to at least scratch home the lead right there, right? And you don't get that. If you've ever played organized baseball, and unlike other podcasts who have never played organized baseball, I have. I played single A baseball. I played semi-pro, did it all, right? High school, everything. And I'm not saying it's major league caliber, but it's pretty damn close at least, right? And you're playing competitive. You got announcers, you got crowds, you got everything, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because when you play in games like that and you get gut punched, it shows the resilience of the team. It shows you what managers are made of and what the team can do, because it is a gut punch. If you've ever been out there and the momentum shifts and all of a sudden the team that you thought you had by the balls now has you by the balls because they punched you in the gut. They got a big out. The crowd's on their side. They're high-fiving everybody in the dugout. You're walking back to the dugout just dejected, like, damn it, how are we going to rally again? Now we got to shut them down. They got a killer part of their lineup. All of a sudden, the head games start. And I've been on several teams, and one team in particular, I won't mention who they were because, again, I don't want to get some guys that I still know that are still cool with me about it. But they had the worst, like, when stuff like that would happen, it reminds me of the Angels. The manager never got the rah-rah attitude when they went back out on the outfield when we had to change sides again and whatnot. We came out of the dugout. It was never like a pep talk. It was never like, hey, man, don't worry about it, stuff like that. Nothing like that, right? He let us be, and we were in our own heads, and we were already waiting for something bad to happen instead of just playing the game and saying, okay, we got to shut them down right here. We got to be motivated. No. And we didn't have those kind of leaders. And then I was on a team like that where you could never be down. There was always one of the guys trying to keep you up. There was always one of the guys telling you stuff that you knew in your head. But if you did not utilize that idea or that thought or that saying or that cliche, you were going to go out there and just start doubting yourself. You were going to go out there and start doubting our pitcher. You were going to go out there and start doubting our defense, doubting the fact that we couldn't make the stop to get back out there in extra innings. Stuff like that, a lot of people don't understand, makes a huge difference. And I think that's lacking with the Angels because in the seventh inning, when they got gut punched, last year, the same thing. No resilience whatsoever. No leadership whatsoever. No rah-rah, no nothing. And so it's to be expected almost. When the Angels get gut punched like they did in the seventh inning and you had, like, they were on the rails ready to explode. They got let down. It was a huge letdown for those watching on TV, for those listening like I was on the radio. And you almost just were ready for the Mariners to just put the game away. And that's exactly what they did in the bottom of the seventh inning. They let their 16,000 fans go home happy because they put up a 6 spot and batted around. So who knows? Maybe if there's a pep talk, maybe if there's a little bit more communication, maybe if there's more, rah-rah attitude from the Angels, maybe Shauna Will makes that play. Maybe that play never happens. Maybe there's not a bases loaded situation. Maybe Detmers pitches through it. I don't know. But I will tell you from experience myself, the whole reason why I went into this rant is because I believe 100% that momentum is real. And you are in control of it. You can be if you make yourself and others around you get that momentum back in your favor. You can. But if you're already synced with the terrible look, the doubt, the other team's going to feed off that and they're going to steal it. And it's going to be helped out even more and magnetized even more by the opposing crowd. So momentum's a real thing, guys and gals. And the momentum literally went straight over to the freaking Mariners. Straight up. Straight up. So with that being said, let's get into some awards tonight. Because, again, it ain't going to no Angels, and they didn't deserve it. So I'm not going to play the losing slide. I'll play just one real quick second of it since it's a quick show today. Wanted to see Rendon fall. That's all. But he loses every time. We haven't played Stukas in forever, which is our winning song. But let's see who got player of the game, shall we? The John Stamos Golden Stamos. I think you have to give it to J.P. Crawford. He came through with 2 big hits in this game, including the game winner that got through the middle, that put the game away. They went up 5-3, and they proceeded to put on 4 more runs. Crawford was a pain in the ass today, getting on 2 times, getting the 2 RBIs and the walk, and playing some solid defense. So he is the player of the game. You had yesterday Polanco, the player of the game. So you could have gave it to Rivas too. Rivas was a pain in the ass. He had 3 RBIs today and 3 hits. But I think J.P. Crawford being the leadoff guy, being the setup guy, he really got this team going today, which is, again, we're making anemic teams look really good. And that player of the game is brought to you in part by 714 Tickets, where you can use our code HITI in the promo, because tickets are whatever they say they are. So if they say they're $27, they're $27. If they say they're $274, they're $274. It don't matter. There's no taxes, no fees, no service, nothing. It's just you get that additional 10% off when you put in HITI, and you could use it as much as you want for whatever you want. It just doesn't have to be Angel tickets. You could be Dodgers, Padres, Giants. It could be out of state, and you could use it more than once. So I implore you to go to 714 Tickets and tell them HITI in the promo code or over the phone, and they give you the same kind of discount if you're not good at using the app. Also, Brewheim brings you the the Nacho Night. Brewheim, 10% off right there. It's over there off State College. It's a nice brewery to take a date or just to hang out with friends. It's really good. Nacho Night!
Nacho night, oh yeah, nacho night. Pile it up, load it high. Extra shame, hold the pride. Grab a fork, take a dive. Dignity's gone, but the cheese survived. Moldy cheese, stale chips, what a sight. Soggy dreams gone tonight. Had a bad night, lost the fight. No more crunch, just take a bite. It's the Nacho Night Award.
Gone are the days when we were 9-5, when we were giving the Nacho Night Award to the opposing team because we were winning. And also gone are the days when we were winning and I was able to give the Stamos to an Angel. It seems like it's been forever since those two things have happened, and also playing the Stukas. It's been very frustrating, but let's just get to whoever was the Nacho Night, and who qualifies for that is usually a guy who strikes out 3 times or 4 times, getting that golden sombrero, or not coming through in the clutch or making an error. But this time I have to give it to Reed Detmers because he couldn't get an out. He couldn't do anything right. 5 runs, 5 hits. That's as bad as it gets. And he only threw 12 pitches. And you can say, well, I could blame it on the defense, but dude, 5 runs, dude, that's pretty bad. And you want to see better out of him. I don't think this is totally a setback for him. He'll eventually make his way to the rotation. But if I have to give out some nachos, I'll give it out to him tonight. And it just sucks about Trout too. And we'll probably see him maybe Friday. I don't think we'll see him tomorrow at the game. Moving forward. So let's get into some comments right now for today as we are moving forward here. And we have Boo Bear's mommy checking in with a super sticker. You know what? Let me know in the comments if you can make tomorrow's game. And I got a little surprise for you if you can. Also, Grillmaster starts us off with it's Spritz o'clock. He wants a botanical spritz.
O'clock, Angels play. Win or lose, we toast today. Sip and cheer, no matter score. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more.
Mario said Spritz o'clock as well. Minopi says 1 month down and eternity to go. Yeah, we're just 1 month into the season, fellas. Also, Jason Hess says D's nuts, which is funny because we do have D's nuts right here, which, by the way, he's back online. If I forget his name, but he's back online. If I could find it real quick. See, it's one of those where it gets lost.
These nuts. Got him. Got him.
Perez checks in with Eddie Perez says, sell the team. Absolutely. I wish that was possible. Fuck this useless team. Joshua says, Grillmaster says, got Reed Detmer's blows. The defense was terrible tonight as well. Also, Mike Trout saying Spritz o'clock as well. EQ says, this team sucks. Sell the team. Artie, what the fuck? Mike Trout also says, no sex equals injury. Grillmaster says, me love you long time. And that is our buddy, Roger Lodge.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played. And the season starts tonight, which makes me so horny. And me love you long time.
EQ says, I got to find a new hobby now. Mario says, I predict at least 1 win during the homestand. Book it. Yikes. Also, I'm not going to play Wake Me Up When September Ends because I've said that over and over. That is a song that Roger Lodge has killed when they get eliminated because that's his thing. Eddie Perez says, bring on Torrey Hunter as coach. I agree. Let's see. Mario says Trout out for the season. Q Lombardi. I don't know if he's out for the season, but I do know he's going to be sitting a couple games. What the hell's going on out here? Also, Daniel says, yo. Mike Trout says, Mario, I'm not the only one who hasn't had sex. The Angels suck says, Fielding let Detmers all the way down. Why did they bring Detmers before Johnson? I don't know, man. He has been mismanaging the bullpen being Ron Washington, and he has never anything to say about it. Like he never has a reason for it. So when you ask him, hey, why did you do this, this, and that instead of doing this, this, and that? Well, like I didn't really have another option. What do you mean you didn't have another option? Why did you put Darno at number 5? Why is he always at number 5? Quote, and I mean quote, this is exactly from what Ron Washington says, not just in my voice, but Ron Washington came out and said, well, I don't have anywhere else to put him. What do you mean? Put him on the bench. Put him number 9. You can move him. Why? It's just you can only write his name in the 5 spot? Oh, he is. Look, I have to calm down. I was on the Ron Washington bandwagon, and I was saying, hey, give the guy some time, this and that. But his decision-making towards the end of last season and into this season and everything else has just gotten me like, I can't do it anymore. Let's see. Eric Wallace says, hey, fam, I'm not going to say a single word. That's coming from a Mariners fan. Thank you, Eric. Jason says Angels are the worst than the bad news Bears. Useless Trucker says, in Anaheim's sun where hopes once soared high stands Mike Trout, a star who now seems shy. With power and grace, he once ruled the field, but injuries came and his fate was sealed. Ooh. I am more in shape than Trout. Oh, geez, here we go. Eric Wallace says Mario that's not as accurate as it is. Also, was getting a haircut during the beginning of the game. The barbershop had the Dodgers game on. The Marlins defense is definitely worse than the Angels. Again, that's a worse team, and they're performing better than we are. They're scoring runs. It's just sad. Useless Trucker says locked on losses. Eric says, here's something positive. You were in it to the 7th inning. Hey, Sue says, Todd Fox, Angels are buttercup. The players play with zero heart. They sure do. Mario says, Lombardi is going to lose his voice tonight. Yeah, because he's going to be saying this over and over. What the hell's going on out here? Also, Boo Bear's mommy says, I'm beginning to believe that the players don't care about winning either. They want Artie to sell as much as we do. Useless Trucker says, Todd, do more phony call-ins, have Johnny Washington call in and get into a big argument. We need to have the fun. Yeah, well, that's usually see, I can't even say his name over there, or Eli over there on TikTok says, anyone know when Artie's going to choke? No, we don't. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have somebody call in, not tonight because I don't have too much time, but likely tomorrow night and Friday, we'll have either Arturo or we'll have some stand-up comedy there by Terry Smith. Jesus says, every division has a bad team. Unfortunately, the AL West, it's us. Fuck! Also, the watch party weekend. Can you save a large shirt for me this time? Yeah, I could do that. Thank you for, again, the super sticker right there. Silent E says, what do I do? What do I do with the round thing? Do I get past the guy crouching behind the square thingy? How about the stick thingy? Do I have to hit the ball thingy over the fence? Sounds legit, coach. Corey over there on TikTok says, apparently the players are set with Artie and the front office with the schedule making, or they're upset. Yeah, they've been upset with him. The crying fox is how I feel right now, Boo Bear's mommy says. Also, Eric Wallace says, useless. He'll have Wash call in with an epic better than Roger Lodge. Lord help us. Eddie Perez says, this team is pathetic since 2014. Also, Silent E checks in with too many teams rely on analytics for game decisions when they are meant to be used as planning tools rather than the answer in game situations. At least in my opinion, use gut in games and analytics to plan. That's 100%. That is 100% Silent E. You said it better than I could. Eric says, hey, Todd, it would have been funny if you co-host with Rush. The season starts tonight. Boy, I would love to, but see, they would fire me right away, dude, because I'd be too critical for them.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Albert Pujols says, y'all need me as a manager. Also said, I think we should have a big sign for the next tailgate. A couple maybe sell the team Artie. Corey says, you think Perry and Ron Washington will be fired if they keep losing? Yeah, if this team is anywhere around 60 to 70 wins by the end of the season, absolutely, you clean house. Even at my age, Albert Pujols says I can hit better than these guys. We struck out less than 10 times. Q Lombardi, which is LV says this fucking season starts tonight. He doesn't care that we
We
lost.
got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Myopic offense, exactly. Also, Useless Trucker says, better yet, have Artie call in drunk and angry, defending the record and the resentful fans and criticism. Kylo checks in with, on paper, we look decent, but the only players with baseball instincts are Neto, Trout, and Ohapi. The rest of the lineup is suspect. Well, I would say you could throw Renifo in there and Shonawell at times, but good God, man, they do need a lot of help. Hopefully the ownership group comes to Artie and gives him a big offer that he can't refuse. Well, he was offered $2.5 billion upwards to $3 billion, and he turned him down. So I'm very pissed that did not occur. Jason Hess says Ron is known for his all over baseball for being a fundamental guru. Besides spring training, haven't seen anything fundamental about this team. So with that being said, how much of the front office is coaching? Pretty much a large part of it, Jason. Because it doesn't make sense that, yes, he is a guru, that he helps out, that he does this, the young players love him. It still happens. Andrew says the push for 100 losses is well and truly on. Grillmaster's over-exaggerating. The Useless Trucker says have Ron calling in, and he's on the edge. Don't push me and have him bring up the record. Boy, you're trying to write the show. You might have to do that. Jason Hess says Detroit Tigers going to scratch our balls in a sweep. So he's calling for
you to check out what I want. I want balls and John
Detroit sweep. Going to San Felipe and El Diablo run this weekend. Can't wait to have fun, party, and not think about the Angels sucking again. Well, be careful, my friend, and have a good time, Mario, with that kick-ass bike of yours. 2022 losing streak will be broken this year. Just another Halo defeat in Rory's voice. Oh, poor Rory. We're so back to losing again. And we're going on a losing streak. Yeah, wow, winning exactly. Balls, and Todd forgot to play the Buttercup slide. Yeah, it's just Eric says this team makes me want to check myself into a mental facility. Out of here! And you know what? That's probably why they have so many of those on here. The worst part of the game is Master Boney wasn't even in their lineup. He's the third baseman, so maybe we can get a deal for and save him and put him in our lineup, and maybe we can finally master our bonies with a win. I like that idea. And it also sounds like a Ninja Turtle, or not a Ninja Turtle, but, Master Splinter. It's like, Master Boney, how do we defeat Shredder? I could totally see that there too. Stukas is officially retired at this point. Finger Red #1 at losing. Mike Trout is out of here. Also, Iron Giant says the Angels will be the Angels we all know and hate and love. That sucks. Corey also says it's funny how Artie expects us to go to the playoffs in this season, but our season is going down the hill already. Andrew says, does Ron even care? At this point, it's hard to believe right now. Boo Boo Bear's mommy says, tomorrow I'll do my best. I think I can, but I need to move things around. Well, message me, Boo Boo Bear's mommy, and those tickets are yours. Halo Homie says 100 Halo fans versus Artie Moreno. I wish we can get rid of Artie Moreno somehow, some way. Oh, jeez. Mario says, Todd, your buddy in Texas was on point about Ron Washington as coach. Q Lombardi. Exactly. Also, Mario says it's still early, but we just have to keep our composure. Yeah, you can't really go off on emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Come on, all right, everybody. That's what I'm talking about, guys. We've made a great effort so far. Let's just keep it up.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay?
Yeah.
We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to just keep our composure.
Also, Tyler says this is the most myopic, or the moist myopic. Brewmaster says that Washington run fast and turn left to go right to the Coke shop. Also, Joshua says, didn't the Samuelis offer Artie to buy the team? No, they did not, which I would have took that in a heartbeat, but no, they did not. Blake says this team won't be competitive until Rendon, the bitch, is off the books. Boy, 100% right there. Angels Suck says, I do like Campero over Taylor Ward. Well, see, the funny thing is, too, I like that, too, Angels Suck, because the fact that he's able to steal bases, he's fast, he's not a liability in the outfield. He has a chip on his shoulder because he's trying to stay up in the show. Whereas Taylor Ward he was probably surprised that he wasn't penciled into the lineup. A lot of these guys don't have to work for anything. They already know they're going to be starters. And I think that's part of it too. If you don't have this chip on your shoulder to keep your job, or someone knocking on the door to take your job, that's where depth and that's where young talent comes into play. I mean, look at what happened with Santander last year. Santander should be still on the Orioles. He was a starter, a borderline all-star, and I think he even made the all-star one year, and he was really good. But the fact that the Orioles had all those kids knocking at the door, all those second-generation players, man, you got to move them. And that's a good problem to have. If you got better talent in the pipeline than you have on the major league roster, well, no job should be safe. So that's what I think about it. Next man up if you can't do your job. Grillmaster says, running up my butt, which is Roger Lodge being rather sus.
Let me tell you something about my guy, John Stamos. So I was able to go in the back bedroom and unscrew the old balls and running up my butt right now. You get out of it what you put into it. John Stamos choked on me. He was so great.
I don't know where he was going with that, but still. Mario says, every time I hear Master Boney, I keep thinking of Steve Balboni from Kansas City back in the day. Can he still play? I don't know. The Rendon is a little bitch is so satisfying in the intro. Yeah, I love it too, Tyler. I love it too. So that being said, we are going to cut this one a little bit short. I've got dinner. I came home later than I wanted to. This game ended way earlier, so I appreciate everybody checking in onto the real post-game show, not the fake-ass one. I really appreciate everybody giving us a like and subscribe if you can. Also tell everybody on the that you listen to the post-game that you actually like, and that would be awesome in helping us out. And by all means, come down to our little Bruheim event on the 10th. We're also going to have something for our super fan that passed away on the 24th against the Marlins. We're going to have a tailgate under the Big A, and we'll have food and prizes and stuff like that. And just come and say hi to the family and stuff like that. They would really appreciate that because we are a community here, man. We actually cherish our fans and cherish the people that participate. And we will be giving away some stuff to the people that have been like Boo Boo Bear's mommy, Tyler, Mateo, all the ones that have been chipping in, helping out the page with some swag at the end of the month. I got my shirt deal done finally because we didn't have that done. And then we also have some hats coming. We'll have some other stuff right there. So but between now and then, I'll have a lot of tickets to be given away to fans if they want to go to games. I'll let you know some of the games coming up here soon. So again, with that being said, let's get into the last final comments before we get out of here. Mike Moore says, Trout being Trout, get his ass out of here. I'm tired of that MFR right now. So Mike Moore's had enough of Trout. Also bring back Matt Moore. Mario says, smoking beef tenderloin, loving day game. Also for the tailgate, can I park under the A for free? No, not so much. You'd have to get past Klaus. Hot take, Angels winning 3 out of 4 against the Tigers a new month. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I can't back you on that one, Rally Chris. That would be amazing if that happened, but I can't back you on that one. So everything is a wash today. No pun intended. The Angels lose to the Mariners. And again, we played like fat sons of bitches.
This fat son of a bitch is going to drown us all out. He's going to calm down, okay? All right? He's fat.
Yeah, he is fat. So either way, Angels got to get their shit together.
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together.
And also,
hello, you play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Apparently we did, because that's what happened. We lost. And so everybody have a good rest of your evening. I guess we'll get them tomorrow. Go Angels, and follow us back here if you don't already on the Heedy Baseball Network.